Hi, my name is Annalisa Urban, and welcome to a review of my short film, Action. Action is a short film about a young woman trying to pursue her dreams of becoming an actress. She gets to know the highs and the lows of the casting scene and quickly learns the harsh reality of rejection and judgment that inevitably go hand in hand with putting yourself out there in such a way. We join her on her journey where she learns, and I hope that we learn as watching her, that perseverance, hard work, and ambition can get you one step closer to fulfilling your dreams.
My life wasn't always like this.
The special thing about this movie specifically for me was that it was one of the first projects, or actually the first project, where the entire movie turned out the way that we planned it, which I know sounds obvious, but every single insert, push in, pull out, and transition you see was planned exactly the way you see it and exactly in that part of the movie. Like the placement and the planning of the shots was extremely accurate, and I'm so happy and interested and also proud of the fact that it turned out that way, because I think especially when you're like starting out and you have a low budget or no budget projects, it's really hard to like create a vision and then make it happen. And I think this is super nice to see that while writing the script, I didn't limit myself in any sort of way, and then just to see that my vision was able to come alive exactly the way that I wanted it to is very comforting and something that I'm very proud of, which is why this movie is extremely special for me as well.
Not that he's my ideal of the absolute finito. He's too prim and cautious to be my absolute ideal.
In case you couldn't tell, the first scene is actually from Breakfast at Tiffany's. It's supposed to seem like you're about to watch a movie about the specific character that Lara plays in the scene, but then all of a sudden the camera reveals the director and like the entire movie set on the other side.
I like that.
And I think that this illusion is really cool and helpful, and I wanted to recreate it throughout the entire movie, like always starting off a scene and making it seem like you're about to get a glimpse of a private moment out of Lara's life, but then having a director yell cut and then revealing the scene to be either another casting or even a movie set. And I think it's quite the clever way to keep the story interesting, but also underline her like perseverance and motivation, because the reason why she wants to become an actress is because it lets her experience all these things that she usually wouldn't. And at the same time, letting her whole life revolve around a movie set shows just how ambitious she is to like actually fulfill her dream. As the movie proceeds, we get a glimpse into her life. She wakes up, she showers, she grabs some cereal, and if you pay attention to the colors of the production design, they all evolve throughout the movie. Like whether it's her clothes, the bedding, the props in her room, it's all extremely planned out. And as you might be able to tell, in the beginning, she's surrounded by a lot of yellow things. Like her shirt has a sun on it, the radio is yellow, the bedding is obviously extremely yellow. And we use the color yellow to kind of show like the beginning state of her mind and the beginning of her journey where she's full of hope and joy and dreams. Then we get to see her calendar for the first time. And if you look closely at her appointments, you can see how almost all of her appointments make an appearance in the movie one way or another. She has dance rehearsals, seduction classes, driving lessons, and you can even find the exact castings she goes to later in the film as well. And if you look even closer, all of the magnets are from Italian cities or places, which is a little hint to the fact that she can't speak Italian, or more so, she learns it throughout the movie.
Ti faccio un caffè?
Which I thought was fun. And everything in the movie, everything is on purpose, which is cool. And if you pay attention, if you watch it more often, I'm sure you'll notice even more things.
Hi, my name is Lara, and today I'm auditioning for the role of Anna.
The first casting montage was very, very fun to write and edit. I knew I wanted to show a sad and angry and a more unpredictable and kind of psychopathic character. And it was also important for me to show how seamless Lara can switch from emotions within a character. So I tried to widen some of the character's experience and therefore emotional ranges within the specific scenes. And what I also enjoyed about this segment is the way that the three characters, even though it's all Lara, they're kind of having like a conversation with each other. And I'm a huge, huge fan of montages and like breaking typical chronological structures, which is definitely something you can see throughout all of my movies kind of. So I thought cross-cutting each scene with each other gives the sequence more dynamic and therefore allows me to show three different casting rooms in an interesting and more entertaining way.
You don't remember me?
The outfits, backgrounds, makeup, and hairstyles were also chosen extremely carefully, and this was like the first time that I kind of incorporated costume and makeup as like an own character and an own dimension. It definitely gives the film so much more depth. And if you look closely, for the first character, I specifically chose a clean and almost sterile background because I find it matches the missing emotional capacity a psychopath would have, and the matching white outfit is just supposed to underline that. The hair and makeup, however, are a bit more aggressive, unusual, and especially quite unpredictable. The whiteness of the outfit and the background is so clean and composed, but then the makeup and the hair really breaks it, which makes her seem even more unpredictable and even sort of scary to some extent. The casting directors were also chosen extremely carefully and placed into the specific rooms also very deliberately. I wanted to have 3 different types of casting directors throughout the 3 scenes. One room was supposed to be more fascinated by her acting, one room a little bit more skeptical and partly disinterested, and one so taken aback by her acting that they forgot that it is a casting room. And the first 3 in the psychopath room are supposed to be mesmerized by her acting. They support her, they're fascinated by her, and they want to see more of her. And I specifically chose these 3 actors because I feel like they're a bit younger than the others and their appearances are very authentic and give off more of like an open-minded and supporting vibe. And having specifically them watch the psychopathic character is also a nice contrast because she's like very sterile and creepy. And on the other hand, you have like these nice and like happy and supporting casting directors, which just gives the scene a little bit more dynamic because you kind of have 2 completely different emotional states like bouncing off of each other. And the outfits are also very intentional for the casting directors. I picked dark and black outfits so they contrast Lara's personality a little bit more and therefore stand out in the room. All right, then the second character is obviously the sad one. The blue background was very fitting to match the melancholic, unhappy, and kind of like dramatic storyline of this character. Her outfit and hair are a bit more cozy because I find that ties kind of like the mopey, broken, and cast down aspect all together very nicely. Like she wears this comfortable brown sweater and her hair is just like in a low bun and there's strands hanging out. And if you look closely, you can see that her makeup is blue too, and more importantly, there's a gemstone next to her eye, which is something that I'm very happy worked out because it's something that I learned from a makeup artist from Euphoria because I read an interview where they said that they added a gemstone to Jules' character's eye because when the light hits it at a certain angle, it kind of like breaks and imitates a tear. And I thought that was extremely fitting for this character. So she has a gemstone next to her eye, which I really like. And if we take a look at her casting directors, you can probably tell right away that they're also part of the friendly fraction. They're supposed to be the characters that lose themselves in her acting and also get sad, and therefore forget that they are actually in the casting room, which you can see because the casting director in the middle, like takes her pictures and holds them and she like completely forgets to take notes. And I chose these 3 specifically for this scene because I find they all give off a very friendly and soft vibe to them. And the pastel and light colors of their outfits definitely underline that, and I find it works out very well. Like if you just look at a still of the 3 of them, you can definitely feel like it's kind of like a cozy room and everybody's here to support each other and you just like lose yourself in whatever's happening. And I find that's very fitting.
Cut. That was
Wonderful.
good.
Then the last room, Angry Lara. Of course, a luscious green is a beautiful color to underline her anger.
You did what?
Green often gets used to underline things that aren't right because green is quite often associated with like jealousy, anger, or sickness, which is why we picked green, and I find it's the perfect background to match this character's state of mind. She also has on green makeup, and I find the tightness of her outfit paired with like the snatched, sharp braided hairstyle makes her seem more agitated and aggressive, like she's just about to snap anytime. Her counterparts are 3 guys that are definitely more skeptical and also not really interested in her, like one of them is even on his phone. They are definitely all wearing more uncomfortable choice of outfits. Like if you look at the casting director in the middle, he's still wearing like a leather jacket which doesn't look too comfortable. And while of course all 3 of them look very fancy and are handsome young men, wearing a sweater over a shirt isn't necessarily the most casual, chill, or comfortable outfit. And since they all are wearing it, it seems to be a more serious vibe, and I find that they did such a good job.
That was
Wonderful.
good.
All right, now let's take a look at the montages.
And action.
All of these shots were obviously also planned and have their designated spaces throughout the movie. And as you can see, the outfits, the lighting, and obviously the acting changes. In the beginning, everything is warmer, more motivating, and positive, and this definitely changes throughout the journey. So the montage carries on, and there's actually a fundamental mistake in this movie, but I will not tell anybody where it is. If you should find out and see it, just let me know and like we can meet up. No, just kidding. Don't tell anybody. But anyways, look at this scene right here. It's kind of cool because look who thought they were Hitchcock, because I'm in this scene.
And action.
And the scene is actually supposed to show that Lara can also play theater and is able to learn long and more complicated monologues. And this specific scene is part of a scene from Shakespeare.
Who are you talking to? You make the move.
All right, then this next scene actually also has a very famous reference.
You talking to me?
Could anybody guess it?
Who the fuck are you talking to? You talking to me?
It's Taxi Driver. And this scene shows again like how much coordination the movie in itself needed, because you have to imagine that we didn't shoot it chronologically, obviously, and so we would like shoot like these random like snippets of scenes. Like for example, the day that we shot in the bathroom, then all of a sudden she was like going, "You talking to me?" in the bathroom, and then that was over, and it wasn't referenced ever again. Cut. And then sadly, this casting scene of the taxi driver scene is where she gets her first rejection, and things just kind of go downhill from there for her, and she moves into her lowest point of the movie. So I think the montage also shows that, because the lighting gets colder and darker and her cereal becomes less and less, which is symbolic for her drive being a little tainted by all the rejections that she gets. Her bedside tables also gets fuller and fuller, her bedding loses color, her movements are slower, the music and the pacing is losing energy until we reach her down point. Then, in the midst of her despair, she sees a picture of Audrey Hepburn and reads the back of it, and it reads,
"Nothing's impossible." The word itself says, "I'm possible."
and remembers why she started in the first place. And that's actually something that Audrey Hepburn apparently really did say. And I think it is a nice sentence, and it's a nice reminder to anybody out there. It doesn't matter if you're in film or whatever it is, like nothing's impossible, and you can reach all your goals if you don't give up, which is something that Lara definitely notices in this scene. And then she opens the fridge and takes out an egg, and she decides she's like on a new journey, and she's like gonna, you know, change things, and she found her ambition again, and symbolically she switches her breakfast from cereal to a scrambled egg. You probably noticed that in the scene where she's practicing her lines after the emotional down point is the same scene from the beginning.
Now, if I could choose from anybody alive, I wouldn't pick Jose.
So she gained her motivation back and went to the audition that, if you look at the calendar in the beginning, it says Hepburn Baby, and it's like the highlight of the month. And she actually gets the role, which is like her breakthrough, which is only something that you see if like you recognize that the beginning scene is the same scene as this scene, and the casting director is also the same guy.
So let's do it again.
Then next we have the Italian scene. This scene is just supposed to show that she's ready to learn new languages for specific roles, which I think worked out really well. And this scene was also really funny because the other two Italians in the scene are friends of ours, and it was funny to see them act because they did a really good job. And I like the scene in general because I find her comeback is really clever.
E questa è la tua grandezza? Lo faccio da sola, grazie.
And next we have the German scene.
Wie können Sie es wagen,
Could you guess what scene this movie was from?
mit einem Vorgesetzten so unverschämt
sprechen, Oberfeldwebel.
It's from Inglourious Bastards, and I chose it because obviously, if you don't know, I'm from Germany, and everybody in the crew also.
Ich mache Sie und Sie verantwortlich. Sie
Treffen jetzt Ihren Freund, oder er wird Max' ersten Geburtstag wegen Trunkenheit in der Öffentlichkeit im Gefängnis verbringen.
And I wanted to show that she's like bilingual and she can speak more languages, so I decided to make the whole movie in English, but then add like a German scene just to show her being bilingual. And I thought it was a really cool idea to pick the Inglourious Basterds scene because that scene is actually in German too in the original movie, which is cool because in case Tarantino should ever watch the movie, he'll definitely recognize that the scene is from his movie.
Bravo. Bravo.
All right, next we have like the burlesque type of scene, which is supposed to show that she can dance really well. And that also she looks good in a blonde wig, which was kind of important for me to show because I find she has a very beautiful and timeless face and a very versatile face, and I think she can rock a lot of different looks. And by giving her like a blonde wig, it just shows that she even looks good in a blonde wig, which just shows how many things she can do. And I really liked this scene. It was so fun. We actually got somebody to help us with the choreography. We even built a moon. Like, it wasn't so easy. We built the moon ourselves. Then after that, we see the engagement scene, which is one of the scenes that I spoke about all the way in the beginning, which is kind of supposed to create the illusion of her private life. And you're like, oh, yay, finally we could get a glimpse into like what her private life looks like. And then it's like, nope, this is another movie set. And that was also very fun. And I think it's cool how like the song moves over the engagement scene, which just makes this whole entire like segment kind of seamless, which I think is also nice because it just shows like how she obviously made it. Like you can tell she isn't in casting rooms anymore. It's obviously all movie sets. And the production value of the movie sets are also higher than they were in the beginning, which just shows her development and how like she made it to some extent. Then afterwards we have the vampire scene, and this also has a very seamless transition, which was really fun. And actually the vampire scene, when I was like planning the shots, I was in a cafe with a friend and I was practicing and I was filming her, and I knew I wanted like to start in a Dutch angle and kind of like move in on her and switch into the other Dutch angle. And I thought we might just do it with the gimbal because the cameraman Marcel is like very talented at making things work, that things that are actually supposed to be way more complicated, but making them work with like the resources that we have. So we first thought we just like use the gimbal, but then it didn't work, and then he ended up lying on a chair and like his ACs like pushed him and he moved the gimbal, which was cool, and it worked out really well. And if you pay really close attention, you can see that the guy whose blood she's drinking is actually her fiance from the previous scene, which I also thought was nice. So these last few scenes are basically just supposed to show that the reason why she wants to become an actress is because she can do all these things. Like she's engaged
14 times.
she can drink somebody's blood, and she even kidnapped the president, which was really fun that it worked out the way that it did. And then I'm sure everybody noticed that we finished the movie and the original in the first scene that we start the movie in, which I think is a nice way to just tie it all together, because in the beginning she already says, my life used to be way different, and it kind of just like is a recap of how she got to where she was, and I think it ties it together very nicely, and I think it ends the movie beautifully.
I guess all I want to say is never stop.
It was a fun project. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this little video gave a little bit of insight on how we plan things and how every little thing is actually very intentional. And yeah, if you want to see more of my projects, you can take a look at my website, and I look forward to maybe working with you soon. And yeah, thank you for watching.
Can we get playback on that?